Hello everybody, what's going on? This is Andrew, and today I am going to be doing my very first hardcore Pokemon Nuzlocke. Now, I've kind of developed a story that I'm gonna try to continue on for a little bit, using my first two Nuzlockes that I've done as kind of a baseline for that story. So if you haven't watched those, I suggest you at least watch the final episode of mine and my brother Aaron's Nuzlockes and the video I put together of Pokemon trainer Sarah's Emerald Nuzlocke. I think that video turned out really well, and I'm really excited to kind of jump back into Pokemon Emerald and this time do a hardcore Nuzlocke. The other thing I'm going to do in this video that's different from the last one is this is going to be the first part of a Region-Locke. Now I'll get more into the details of a Region-Locke a little bit later, but basically it's going to be a continuing journey for me going from this game to other games in the Pokemon world. But we're going to start with Emerald. That's the game I obviously have the most experience with, and so we're going to hop in. The rules for a hardcore Nuzlocke are that you obviously can only catch the first Pokemon on each route. For this Region-Locke, I will be playing with the species clause, so I cannot catch a duplicate species if I've already caught it on a previous route. If a Pokemon faints, it is dead forever, and it must be permanently boxed. And that death is going to be permanent across this whole series. So I need to be really careful with Pokemon, and if they die, I won't be able to use them at all ever again. And there's some more rules. I'll put them on screen right now, and I'll put a link down in the description as well. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the Region-Locke. So buckle up, and I hope that this goes really well. Let's get into it. After taking time to process the loss to Wallace, I knew that it was time to try again. I grabbed another Torchic from Professor Birch and began another Nuzlocke journey. This journey would be more difficult, but would be more rewarding at the end. Falcon the Torchic has a neutral, hardy nature, and in no time I was ready to start the challenge. Along Route 103, where May was before, there was a different person waiting for me. She introduced herself as Sarah, and sent out a Mudkip to start the battle. Falcon had leveled up by now, and had the advantage over this level 5 Mudkip, so I just used Focus Energy once, and then scratched 3 times to easily win the battle. Who was this Sarah person? On Route 101, after receiving Pokeballs, I caught a Wurmple. Spider-Man the Wurmple joined the team for now. And then on Route 102, a Lotad named Groot joined the team. Groot then helped me track down a friendly Zigzagoon, which I named Rocket. Now the team is really coming together, and I think we've got a good group of Pokemon for the first couple of gyms at least. In the grass outside Petalburg Woods, I run into a Marill. Marill can be a nice backup water-type Pokemon if it has the Huge Power ability. But unfortunately, Yondu the Marill does not have Huge Power, so Yondu's going to hang out in the box for most of the run. Finally, Wurmple was ready to evolve. What was it going to be? Cascoon or Silcoon? This time, Wurmple evolved into Silcoon, and on the way through Petalburg Woods, I found a Taillow. Beautifly plus Taillow is going to make Brawly easy. Nice. Let's fast forward now to the north part of Rustboro City and Route 116, where I ran into an Nincada. Nincada is a really cool Pokemon. It's bug ground typing, and it evolves into the really powerful and fast Ninjask, so I'm happy to add Nincada to the team, which sends Yondu to the box. From here, the only thing to do before taking on the gym and Roxanne is to get everybody up to the level cap. So while training, Silcoon evolves into a Beautifly, and Lotad evolves into a Lombre. And Lombre is the key to this Roxanne fight. Lombre's grass water typing, and the fact that it knows Absorb makes it super safe to just lead Lombre and click Absorb a bunch until all of Roxanne's Pokemon are dead. The Geodudes are easy one-shots. Nosepass survives because it has a pretty high special defense stat, but Lombre's full health because of its Absorbs, and so even though Nosepass puts up a fight, Lombre is able to absorb, stay healthy, and deal enough damage to eventually take out the Nosepass, earning me my first badge. Way to go, Groot. As I'm leaving Rustboro City, I run into that girl Sarah again. Who is she? She claims that she knows me, but I can't quite remember where from. She challenges me to a Pokemon battle, and Falcon is easily able to take care of her Oddish. Then, I switch to Groot when Mudkip comes out. Groot tanks a water gun very easily, thanks to its 4 times resistance. and then Groot just hits Absorb a couple times until Mudkip faints. Oh, that's who that was. I knew a Sarah when I was growing up. She was a friend of mine. I wonder... what's she doing here? Oh well, I'll move on to Dewford for now in search of my second gym badge. In Dewford, I trained my Pokemon to prepare for Brawly. While training, Torchic evolved into Combuskin and learned Double Kick, which will be its only stab fighting move for a long time. Then, after training everybody up a little bit, it was time to take on Brawly just like that. Like I mentioned before, Beautifly is great against Brawly. Beautifly 4 times resists a lot of the fighting attacks that Brawly's Pokemon know, and so it's an easy lead here into Brawly's team. 2 Gusts take out Machop, and Spider-Man can move on to the Meditite. A Gust just barely doesn't knock out Meditite, which is actually good for us. That means Brawly's going to use a Super Potion here, which means he'll have 1 less Super Potion for his Makuhita. This Meditite only knows Focus Punch, and so just using attacking moves with 100% accuracy guarantees the knockout, basically. Last but not least is Brawly's Makuhita. I ended up making the Makuhita more difficult than it needed to be. I figured that using Stun Spore early would just make the whole fight safer for Spider-Man, but Spider-Man misses not once but twice, letting Makuhita get some free damage on Spider-Man. Then, a Gust does way more damage than I was expecting, meaning if I had just hit Gust the entire time, this battle probably would be over by now. Instead, the Citrus Berry on the Makuhita activates, healing it a bit, and then Brawly uses a Super Potion, but eventually some Gusts are able to take it out, so that's Brawly defeated and the second badge earned. On the way to Mauville, I ran into Sarah again. I apologize for not remembering her before, and she said it was fine and challenged me to another battle. Of course, I accept, and I lead the battle with Hawkeye against her Gloom. Hawkeye hits a wing attack while Gloom misses Stun Spore, and then 1 more wing attack is enough to take it out. Next, Sarah sends out a Voltorb. Hawkeye can't stay in, so I switch to Rocket. Rocket's able to headbutt this Voltorb a couple times and eventually take it out. Last is Sarah's Marshtomp. Marshtomp's a little scary at this point in the game, so I switch into Spider-Man, one of my stronger Pokemon. Spider-Man misses a couple Stun Spores again. Finally hits one, but Marshtomp isn't doing anything. It's just using Mudshot and Bide, and Mudshot doesn't even hit Spider-Man due to its flying type. So the rest of this battle is pretty straightforward. As long as I just absorb when Marshtomp isn't using Bide and use Stun Spore when Marshtomp does use Bide, Marshtomp goes down easily. Spider-Man wins the battle, and Sarah is defeated. She says that we should train up more, and that we'll see her again. I wonder what she means. Anyways, back to the gym challenge. Before Watson, I've got a couple chores to do, like evolving Zigzagoon into Linoon, Halo into Swellow, and catching an Oddish on the route just west of Mauville. Sprite the Oddish goes to the box for now. While getting close to the level cap, Ant-Man tries to evolve at level 20, but I decide to not evolve it. Right now it has the ground typing, and when it evolves it'll lose the ground typing in favor of the flying type. Well, flying is not very good against an electric gym, so I'm gonna leave Ant-Man as a Nincada for the time being. Lastly, I need to destroy Wally and his Ralts before heading into the gym, so Ant-Man easily takes out Ralts with a couple leech lives. Watson is a scary gym leader, so I leave my flying types at home and bring some fodder Pokemon in case things go badly. I lead Rocket, and I hit Voltorb hard with Headbutt. 2 attacks take out the Voltorb after Watson heals, and Rocket lands a critical hit. Then I switch to the secret weapon Ant-Man on Electric. Electric can only use Quick Attack against Nincada, so I can stay relatively healthy with Leech Lives, but I get pretty unlucky and its static ability paralyzes Ant-Man right before it's going to take it out. Not wanting to deal with the paralysis for now, I switch into Falcon. Falcon finishes off Electric and is now in a good spot for when Watson sends out his next Pokemon, Magneton. Magneton hits a Supersonic, but Falcon breaks through Confusion twice to hit Double Kick for big damage first, and then finish it off with an Ember on the following turn. Lastly, Manectric comes out for Watson, and after howling, Static paralyzes Falcon on its first Double Kick. A Cherry Berry shrugs it off, but I take way more damage than I expected from a Shockwave, and Double Kick is not doing quite enough. Now I need to switch, so Nincada comes in and tanks a few Quick Attacks while hitting a Sand Attack, which will lower Quick Attack's accuracy for later. Then Nincada's too low, so I need to switch again. I go into Groot. Groot takes a Quick Attack on the switch, and is able to hit a Fake Out for some minor damage on the first turn. He then growls to give Rocket a shot. Rocket comes out and uses Mud Sport, which lowers the power of electric type moves. But he gets paralyzed, so he has to eat his Cherry Berry. Then he starts hitting some Headbutts, which are doing pretty good damage, but then he gets paralyzed again. Eventually Manectric is in the red, and all we need to do is hit one more attack. But Rocket gets taken down to just 3 HP and is fully paralyzed, so now I need to switch again. The team is looking pretty rough at this point, so I switch into Sprite the Oddish. I'm hoping that Sprite can land a attack before Manectric takes it down, but that doesn't work. Sprite the Oddish goes down without landing a Poison Powder, and now Oddish is dead for this run and for the rest of the Region-Locke. Oof. Spirit didn't die in vain though. Groot can come out and hit a Fake Out, and oh no, Quick Attack has priority over Fake Out. Sorry Groot, that's my mistake. Hoping for a miracle, I next send out She-Hulk the Whisper. Manectric misses a Quick Attack, but Pound does not do enough damage to get the kill, and the static ability triggers, meaning Whisper has to go down as well. Now the only Pokemon who can maybe take a hit is Nincada. Ant-Man comes back out, survives a Quick Attack, and breaks through Paralysis, landing an attack and taking down Watson's powerful pup. Wow. And after some training near Flarbor Town, Nincada finally evolved into Ninjask, a speedy, powerful physical attacker, which will be a great addition to the team. Next up was a showdown with Maxie on Mount Chimney. I lead Ant-Man into his Mightyena and start with a Sword Stance to undo the Intimidate. Now Leech Life is doing decent damage thanks to Stab and Super Effective, and it's keeping Ant-Man pretty healthy. Maxie heals, but he's really just delaying the inevitable. Leech Life brings Mightyena really low before he roars, bringing out Black Panther, my HM Pokemon. Not wanting to risk another needless death, I have to swap Black Panther out, so I send in Falcon, who easily takes out the Mightyena. For Maxie's Camerupt, I have to switch because I don't want Falcon to get hit by a Magnitude, so I swap to Hawkeye, who's immune to ground type attacks. Wing Attack does decent damage, and I'm fine as long as I dodge a crit, which I do. After Maxie heals, 2 more Wing Attacks take down Camerupt. I swap to Rocket on Zubat, who takes out the Zubat with 1 headbutt. Nice job, Rocket. Now, it's on to Lava Ridge Town and Flannery, but before I get there, I run into a Spoink, who I catch and name Billy. Welcome to the team, Billy. Heading into the Flannery battle, I am absolutely terrified, and if you look at my team, you kind of understand why. I have 2 fire weaknesses and nothing really to do against Flannery's team, but I come up with a plan that I think should work. So here's the deal. Spoink and Spider-Man both have pretty high special defense, so I want to just switch around on Flannery's Numel so it uses Overheat a bunch of times and gets to -4 or -6 special attack. Once it does, it can't really do too much damage, so I'd want to switch Ant-Man in, set up a bunch of Sword Stances, and then use Dig to try to one-hit KO the rest of her team. Well, Numel kind of cooperates. She uses Overheat twice early on and goes down to -4 special attack, but never uses another Overheat after that. So eventually I just switch into Ant-Man, use Sword Stances and Hardens to wait out the sun, all the while getting speed boosts, so I know I outspeed everything. So then from then, I can cut the Numel, dig the next 2 Pokemon, which is safe because Camerupt doesn't know Magnitude, and then even with +6 attack, Torkoal should be a range to kill as far as I can tell, but I don't have any choice, so I use Dig, cross my fingers, and get the knockout on Torkoal. If that didn't work, Hawkeye was burned in the back, and so could use Quick Attack for big damage on the Torkoal, so I think I still had the win in the bag, but it's really, really nice that the strategy came together, and I was able to take down Flannery just by setting up Sword Stances on a Ninjask. That's pretty cool. While doing some special attack EV training near Flarbor Town to prepare for the Norman battle, I found a shiny Spinda. I've only run into a few shinies over the years, so I was really surprised to find this one. I caught it and named it Koenig, and I'm really excited to figure out how to use him. Look at his silly little green dots. It's so cool. To continue my lucky streak, my Pokemon caught Pokérus while I was training before Norman. Pokérus is a status kind of thing that means that your Pokemon gain EVs at twice the rate they normally would, so this obviously makes EV training a lot faster, and it's really rare also, so finding a shiny and then immediately finding Pokérus has me feeling really good for the rest of the run. Norman, the 5th gym leader, is up next, and the best strategy I could come up with is to use Combuskin to deal with his first 3 Pokemon, and then hopefully be able to set up a little bit with Ninjask, who should be able to easily take out Slacking. So, I lead Combuskin, and as long as I don't get confused here, I should be able to use 1 Bulk Up, and then take out all 3 of his first Pokemon with Double Kick. And luckily, I do not get confused, which means that after tanking a Psybeam, and then a few small attacks from Vigoroth and Linoone, Falcon is able to get the job done against his first 3 Pokemon. Nice work, Falcon. So now I want to switch into Ant-Man, who knows Dig and can cheese the slacking, because if you dig on a turn when he attacks, and then attack on the turn he's loafing around, you can kind of dodge his attacks. But I'm really worried that Ant-Man won't be able to tank an attack from the slacking, because slacking has a massive attack stat. So first I switch into Hawkeye, who actually handles the hit really nicely. And now I can switch into Ant-Man for free. And now I'm good to go. Or at least I thought I was. Dig is doing way less damage than I thought it would. But then I realize I'll have a chance to use Swords Dance when he heals. I just hope I have enough PP to make it there. But I mess up on a turn, and slacking attacks on a turn I thought he'd be slacking off. Luckily, Ant-Man survives on just 5 HP, so I use one more Swords Dance when he's loafing around, and then I start using Dig again. I go through all my PP, and slacking is super low, and I think a Slash should kill from here, but I'm really scared that it won't. I really don't know if it will or not. I don't really think I have a safe switch in though, so I just use Slash, and I get the KO. That was way too close again, but Ant-Man came in clutch for us once again. In New Mauville, I run into a Magnemite. Magnemite has been becoming one of my favorite Pokemon over the last few years. Its Steel Electric typing is really nice, its high special attack is great, and it's bulky. In later generations it gets sturdy, so it just doesn't die very easily either. I'm very happy to add Magnemite to the team. War Machine, let's get going. After driving Team Aqua out of the Weather Institute, I run into Sarah outside of Fortree City. She challenges me to a battle. Okay, let's do this. I lead Falcon against Gloom. Ember does good damage while she lands a Stun Spore. Falcon takes a bit of damage from Acid, but then breaks through the paralysis to knock out Gloom. When her Marshtomp comes out, I switch to Spider-Man, who can use Mega Drain for big damage, and whose Flying type makes him immune to Mudshot. Nice work. Electrode comes out next and is potentially a problem, so I switch to Billy to hit a Confuse rate, and then go to Rocket, who I think can do more damage than Billy. But Rocket takes a lot of damage from Spark. Then gets hit by a Sonic Boom too, so after hitting a Strength, I need to switch. I go back into Billy, who takes a hit, and then can knock out the Electrode after it finally hits itself in Confusion. Next for Sarah is Lily, so I hit a Confuser with Billy, and then swap to Ant-Man, who can start setting up speed boosts while using Dig. And Dig does great damage. But at the end I pivot to Hawkeye because Ant-Man gets confused just to be safe. Hawkeye can easily end the battle, and Sarah notices how strong we're becoming and wishes us luck. Thanks! Next up is the 6th gym, Winona's Flying type gym. While training, Billy evolved into a Grumpig and War Machine into Magneton. With these evolutions, Winona should be a breeze. I lead War Machine into her Swablu, who can outspeed and one-hit KO it. Next, I swap to Hawkeye, who dodges the Altaria's Earthquake. You'll notice that Hawkeye is poisoned, and that's to activate Guts and the extra damage on Facade, which now almost KOs Altaria in a single hit. Winona heals, but Hawkeye still outspeeds Altaria, so Quick Attack and Facade is enough for the KO. I switch back to War Machine on her Tropius, just to be safe, and War Machine gets the job done over 2 turns. Now it's just a matter of electrocuting the rest of her birds, and that's the gym battle won. On the way to the Lily Cove City, I encounter a Wingull. I'm going to catch the Wingull, and add it to the team, and as I do so, I'm thinking about the composition of my team moving forward. Spider-Man and Hawkeye have done a lot for me up to this point, but I think that Pelipper and Magneton are going to replace them because their typings and their coverage just make a little bit more sense with what I have. So, Spider-Man, Hawkeye, thank you for everything you've done for me so far, but you're going to hang out in the box and be there if I need you. Enjoy your early retirement. And while training before taking on the next part of the story, Falcon finally evolves into a Blaziken, and number 64 evolves into a Pelipper. Next, I took a stroll through the Safari Zone. There's some good items here, and I still haven't gotten my encounter in this area yet, so I wanted to ride around and see what I could find. On my way to pick up an item, I ran into an Oddish, but since Oddish has already been caught and died, I can't catch Oddish here. So luckily I get one more encounter, and this time I run into a Phanpy. Phanpy's a really cute Pokemon, and I've never used it or Donphan, and part of the reason why is because it shows up so late in the Gen 2 games, so it's kind of cool to catch one here. I don't have any current plans for Phanpy or Donphan, but you never know. One Pokemon I do have a plan for is Koenig the Spinda. Now, Spinda's not a great Pokemon, but Spinda in this generation learns Feint Attack, which is a special attack here because the physical special split hasn't happened yet. So I've been EV training Spinda on special attack, and now that he's learned Teeter Dance, which confuses all Pokemon in a battle, which is really good for double battles, I've got a plan for Koenig for the next gym, which is Tate and Liza, a double battle. Before I can challenge Tate and Liza though, I need to foil the crime boss Maxie's plans. This battle's pretty easy thanks to number 64 learning Ice Beam via TM recently, so I'm skipping this battle. Then I have one more face-off with Sarah, because she's blocking the entrance to the department store in Lily Cove and I need to go upstairs to buy TMs. I lead with Ant-Man against her Kecleon. I set up a Swords Dance, while Kecleon hits a Slash. Now a Slash from Ant-Man is more than enough to one-shot the Gecko. Ant-Man can then outspeed her Electrode and one-hit KO it thanks to Dig. Against Lily, I decided to set up one more Swords Dance, but that was a little greedy because Sarah calls for Confuse Ray. Now I need to switch because I don't want Ant-Man to hit itself in Confusion at +4 attack. That might kill from here actually. So I send in Falcon, and 2 Blaze Cakes are more than enough to deal with Lily. Then I switch to Pelipper on Marshtomp, who avoids the incoming Mud Shot and can easily deal with Marshtomp over a few turns. Then to switch back to Falcon to Blaze Kick Zara's Blossom. She had some scary Pokemon, but we were a bit over leveled and our team was definitely up to the task. I go upstairs and buy some TMs and then head to the Moss Deep Gym. After a lot of training and preparation, it was finally time to take on Tate and Liza. I taught my team some TMs like Rocket Shadow Ball and Koenig and number 64 Protect. And I made a plan as best as I could, and I started the battle. My plan is to lead Koenig and Pelipper, and use Teeter Dance to confuse everybody on the battlefield. But Pelipper is going to use Protect on the first turn, so it doesn't get confused. I hoped that Tate and Liza would see a kill on number 64 by using Ancient Power plus Psychic, and that they would just go for that and walk right into my Protect. But of course they don't cooperate. Even though Earthquake doesn't hit Pelipper, Claydol still goes for it and does massive damage to Koenig, while Xatu sets up a Calm Mind. That is not what I wanted to happen here. Now I think the best thing I could do is Protect on Koenig and use Ice Beam to try to deal good damage to the Xatu. Xatu used Calm Mind already, so I want to knock it out as soon as possible. I do end up getting a free turn here as Xatu hurts itself in Confusion and Claydol just goes for Earthquake, which does nothing. So number 64 can get off a pretty good Ice Beam against the Xatu. I know that Koenig might be in danger here, but with both of their Pokemon confused, I think I have to go for it. I choose Feint Attack and Surf and cross my fingers. I think Koenig can tank at least one attack, so I'm hoping that something goes my way. But of course, things never go your way, and Koenig goes down to a single Psychic from a powered up Xatu. Since it seems like Claydol is still going for Earthquake, I switch Ant-Man in. Surf just barely doesn't knock out Xatu, which means they'll heal it this turn. I decide to have Ant-Man chip in for some damage on Xatu while it gets healed. Aerial Ace does decent damage, but now Claydol chooses to use Ancient Power. Ant-Man survives on what must be 1 HP, but then number 64 is able to take down the Claydol. Now that Soul Rock's out, I'm a bit stuck. I don't know who to switch in for Ant-Man, because I don't want Ant-Man to die here. I decide that Rocket should be able to tank at least one attack and then strike back hard, as long as they split their attacks. But they don't. They double up on the Ant-Man slot for some reason, and Rocket goes down instantly. I choose to send out War Machine next, even though it's risky with Soul Rock still up, and number 64 comes in clutch, getting the freeze on Ice Beam, locking down Soul Rock, and making War Machine super safe to start attacking Xatu with Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is a one-hit kill on the Xatu from here, so that's awesome. And number 64 can hit Surf for big damage. Soul Rock stays frozen for a turn, so War Machine helps take out Lunatone, and when Soul Rock does defrost, all it does is hit Psychic on Pelipper. Weird. I'm not sure why it didn't do a Sun-boosted Flamethrower into War Machine at this point. After Tate and Liza heal, I switch War Machine out for Blaziken. Falcon could take an incoming Flamethrower and can outspeed with Blaze Kick for big damage, and Falcon actually hits the crit, taking out Soul Rock. This battle sucked, and we lost some good teammates, but it could have been so much worse. That freeze from number 64 came up huge. Thank you so much, Pelipper. Before I proceed, I need to do the hardest part of every Nuzlocke, saying goodbye to my fallen friends. Koenig and Rocket did a lot of work for me over the course of my journey, and I wouldn't have made it this far without them. Thank you guys so much. And now I need to try to rebuild my team. Billy replacing Koenig is a pretty easy swap, but I'm not sure what to do with the 5th slot yet. I leave it open for now as I proceed in the story. The rest of the story progresses pretty simply. I save the world, blah blah blah, no big deal. I finally can challenge Hoenn, the 8th gym leader. And Hoenn is actually a bit of a pushover this time. You see, Tate and Liza gave me the Calm Mind TM, which Grumpig can learn. And Hoenn leaves with a Love Disc, which is not a very threatening Pokemon. So if I just give Grumpig a Person Berry, which can cure confusion, and set up some Calm Minds, Grumpig should be able to pretty easily take out all of Hoenn's Pokemon. So that's exactly what I do. I get Billy to +4 special attack with Calm Mind, and then just kill everything. It wasn't particularly interesting. Billy just walked into Hoenn's gym and threw his psychic power around. I will say though that Hoenn loves to prolong the inevitable. He likes to set up Double Team with his Kingdra, which Billy doesn't care about since Billy knows Shockwave. Then he likes to heal his Kingdra, so Hyper Potions plus Rest plus the Chesto Berry plus more Hyper Potions just kind of makes the end of the battle feel really silly, but Billy doesn't care. After that, I was ready to start preparing for the Elite Four. And part of that preparation was deciding on a 6th and final team member. I had an idea, but I needed to see if she'd be ready for this final challenge. I picked her up from the box and got to work. In Victory Road, I ran into my last challenge before the Elite Four, Wally. Wally's team has massively improved since we saw him in Mauville City, and he can be a bit tricky. Unfortunately for Wally, Altaria is a one-hit KO with Ice Beam. Then I have to switch to Falcon on Magneton, where Brick Break is enough for the one-shot. When he sends out his ace, Gardevoir, I have to switch, so I pivot to my own Magneton War Machine. Magneton resists psychic attacks, and can take Gardevoir out in 2 Thunderbolts. Unfortunately, War Machine does take a lot of damage from Future Sight, so I need to switch again. This time I switch to Ant-Man. Ant-Man gets a crit to take out Delcatty, and then one more Aerial Ace is more than enough to take down the Roselia. Now it's time for one final training session before the Elite Four. Let's see if we can do it. After all my training and preparation, this is what I came up with for my final team. I do have a 6th team member. I'm keeping her secret until it's time for her to show off. You'll notice I went for a more supportive moveset on Ninjask, and I'll show you why when I get into the first couple of battles. This Ninjask moveset was a lot of fun to use. And with that, I've done all I can do to prepare, so let's get to the Elite Four. Up first is Sydney, the Hoenn Elite Four's Dark-type specialist. Now, Sydney's usually not a challenge, and today he's not going to be a challenge for me either. You see, there's a move tutor that can teach a Pokemon Substitute. Now, Substitute is a move that consumes a quarter of a Pokemon's HP and puts up a Substitute. The Substitute then takes damage for the Pokemon, but most importantly, if the enemy Pokemon tries to use status moves like Sand Attack or Roar, those moves fail immediately. So since Ninjask outspeeds, I can set up a Substitute to dodge Sand Attacks and then start using Swords Dance and Protect to get both attack boosts and speed boosts thanks to Ninjask's ability. Once I'm set up sufficiently, I can baton pass all of those buffs over to Falcon. Falcon, the fire fighting type, can easily take care of all of Sydney's Pokemon from this point. Brick Breaks for the non-grass Pokemon, Flamethrowers for the grass Pokemon, and Falcon easily outspeeds and one-shots everything Sydney has. And that's that, an easy Sydney battle. Phoebe's next, and even though her ghost Pokemon seem intimidating, her first Dusclops is almost as threatening as Sydney's Mightyena. It doesn't really do anything and it can't really put any Pokemon under pressure. So, leading with Ninjask to set up Swords Dances and Substitutes is just as good a strategy as it is against the Mightyena. This time though, I need a different sweeper. So it's time for me to introduce the 6th and final member of my team, Maria Hill the Donphan. Maria, after she receives the boosts from Ninjask, can outspeed and kill all of Phoebe's Pokemon, making her debut a very, very nice one. Welcome to the team, Maria, and thank you for destroying these ghosts for me. Glacia, the Ice-type specialist, is a 3rd Elite Four member. Going into the battle, I want to try to set up against her first Celio, and do the same thing that I did against both Sydney and Phoebe. With just +2 special attack, Falcon would be able to outspeed and kill everything with Brick Break, so that's my plan. And usually, her first Celio loves to set up Hail on the first turn. However, she must see a kill on Ant-Man, because instead of setting up Hail, she just goes for Ice Ball right away and never sets up Hail. Well, shoot, that's not going to work. So, I use a couple more substitutes to see if she changes her mind, but she doesn't, so I have to go to my backup plan. I don't want Blaziken to accidentally die to a water attack from the Celio or the Walrein in the back, so instead I baton pass all of these speed boosts over to War Machine. War Machine can outspeed everything and kill the water type Pokemon in one shot, but can't quite one-hit kill the Glalie. That's fine though, because these Glalie can't do much to War Machine, and eventually I even set up Rain Dance to overwrite Hail, so then I can one-hit KO the last Glalie with a Thunder, just to be safe. That didn't go exactly how I planned, but you know what, we got through the battle safe and sound, so I'm happy. On to Drake. Drake and Glacia must have gotten coffee before I started these battles, because neither of them wanted to cooperate with my plan. Usually, Drake's Shell Gun goes for Protect on the first turn, which should make it pretty easy for me to set up, again with my Ninjask. However, he doesn't do that, and he just starts trying to Rock Tomb my little bug. He doesn't like my bug very much. But luckily Shell Gun does miss a few Rock Tombs, so I'm able to Baton Pass, some speed boosts, and a substitute over to number 64. Then, number 64 can one-hit Shell Gun, Salamence, and Altaria with Never Melt Ice boosted Ice Beam. Kingdra is the only problem, because Ice Beam is only neutrally effective against it, meaning I'll need at least 2 attacks to take it out. So number 64 chips in for some damage before she has to switch. I go into War Machine, who comes out and hits a Thunderbolt after Kingdra dances, and then after Drake heals, I just hit 2 more Thunderbolts, and that's the bat. Oh, that's not the battle. I totally forgot about Flygon. That's fine, I can switch back to number 64 on an Earthquake, tank a Dragon Breath, and then knock it out with one less Ice Beam. Oh, that's the Elite Four completely taken care of. All that's left is Champion Wallace. I prepare my team and walk into his room, and he's not there. Instead, Sarah stands in front of me, grinning knowingly. She welcomes me to her chamber. She explains that since she defeated Wallace, she's now the champion, and she'll be the one accepting my challenge. Alright, here we go. I protect and substitute for a few turns, scouting what the Electrode's doing. Then I baton pass these speed boosts to Mariah Hill, who isn't affected by a Thunder and still doesn't even outspeed the Electrode, but can take it out with an Earthquake. Cradily comes out next and sets up an Amnesia, while I scout with a Protect to make sure I don't get hit by a Grass attack. I still outspeed, and all Cradily goes for is another Amnesia, so I can take it out with another Earthquake. Giga Drain could have been scary there, but we made it out okay. Wall Rain comes out next, so it's time to switch to War Machine. War Machine easily tanks an Ice Beam, and then can take Wall Rain out with a single Thunderbolt. Next, Sarah sends out her ace, Swampert. I switch Ant-Man in, expecting it to go for Earthquake, and I was right. Now I can spend some turns setting up speed boosts and a single Swords Dance with Ant-Man before I have to switch out. The best thing to Baton Pass to is probably number 64, so she takes the boost from Ant-Man and enters the battle, taking a surf as she does. Now for some reason, Sarah just spams Protect with Swampert while number 64 is able to take it out over a few turns with Ice Beam. The Swampert obviously knew another attack, because it uses Hyper Beam eventually, but it spent way too many turns just using Protect for no good reason. Kecleon comes out next and tries to use Thunder. Luckily, I protected to scout what it was going to do, and so now I can safely switch back to Donphan here. The plan is to hit a Rock Tomb to turn Kecleon into a Rock type, and then KO it with a super effective Earthquake. But Rock Tomb misses twice. Eventually though, the plan works without taking too much damage, and Sarah is now down to her last Pokemon, Blossom. A switch to Falcon while she charges Solar Beam basically ensures victory here. Falcon hits Blossom with Flamethrower, but it survives on like 1 HP. So Sarah heals, and I hit with Flamethrower again, hoping for a high roll, and it survives on like 1 HP. Okay, this time Falcon uses Quick Attack first, so Sarah doesn't heal, and then Falcon can finish off the Blossom with a Flamethrower. I was able to defeat the sitting champion Sarah using Hardcore Nuzlocke rules, and my starter Pokemon Falcon got in the last hit. Awesome. After being entered into the Hall of Fame, Sarah told me that Aaron, my brother, who defeated the Pokemon champion before she did, left right away to go to Kanto to start a journey with his Pokemon. I think that sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm gonna do the same. Sarah stays behind to act as champion in my place, and I head to Pokemon Fire Red, which is the next stop on my journey to complete a Region-Locke. A Pokemon Nuzlocke in every mainline region. I'll start Pokemon Fire Red with level 1 versions of this team, and since nobody died, the whole team gets to come to Kanto with me. Thank you all so much for watching. I had a lot of fun playing this first Hardcore Nuzlocke. I think I got to use some really sweet strategies. I'm really proud of myself for finishing with only 5 deaths throughout the run, and beating the Elite Four and Champion with no deaths. Since the Oddish line, Whisper line, Spinda, and Zigzagoon line, and Lotad line all died in this run, I'll be unable to use them for the rest of this series, so hopefully that doesn't cause me any problems in the future. Thanks again for watching, I hope you've enjoyed. Tune in soon for the next part of the Region-Locke. Pokemon Fire Red.